Support for this program provided by...
Hello folks, it's Monday. I know it's a little bit late in the day from when I usually post this. Maybe it's even Tuesday morning for some of you. But either way, it's time for me to ask you, what are you doing? I'm your host, Chad Stanton, and I do apologize for this video coming out later in the day. It's been a busy weekend, but either way, let's get right into it. Let's see, we have a shorter episode today, fewer entries, but it's still all good stuff. And starting us off is William Cortez. Now, William made some mallets, and he made them out of oak and bloodwood. And you notice he made a couple of them there. I always think it's good to have a few mallets in your shop. If you're kind of like me, there's never enough tape measures or mallets around. So in his case, I think he's probably preparing for that. So nice job there, William, and thanks for sending in the photos. The next one is we're going over to New Zealand. That's the beauty of the show. We have entries from all over the place. And we're seeing what Jay Spencer is doing. Now, Jay was like me. He would build pieces, commission pieces for his customers. And like myself, Jay was getting discouraged with people changing designs, not having the money at the end of completion, things going on hold, and it can be frustrating. So Jay said he's decided to start making and selling his own pieces. And he said he's having pretty good luck with it. So one of his current pieces he's making, which we saw a sneak peek of last week, he's making a table out of some reclaimed timber. Now, I thought it might have been, because it was big and round, I thought it might have been for a dining room table. But no, it looks like it's going to be a coffee table. I love the leg design to it there. And I'm real excited to see how it looks all completely finished with the top coat on it. And of course, I know Jay is probably like myself. After you make something and you design it and put blood, sweat, and tears into it, when it comes time to sell it, we need that money, but sometimes it's hard to let it go. But anyhow, I'm sure Jay will get over that. Thanks for sending that in. Daniel Lawson. Daniel made something for his shop that I know I desperately need to do, and maybe you folks are the same. Daniel had an issue with all his screws, fasteners, and hardware. They were just kind of like all over the place. So him and his loving wife took 7 hours to separate and organize it, and then based on that, he was able to make a cabinet that could accommodate for all his stuff. So now, when he needs something, there's no more looking through the drawer, emptying out buckets of stuff, looking for that right screw. He can go right to it. So very nice. He said the construction of it was pretty simple. He got some melamine closet panels, I think from a big box store. And then, of course, he's got plenty of the hardware, as we can see. He put it all together. And now his shop is in a better condition for that. Tom Bertino. Now, last week you saw Tom was making some really long cabinets. I think he said he's got like 14 feet of cabinets there because Tom loves music. And he has a large collection of vinyl albums, DVDs, CDs. And he wanted a place to organize them and probably show them off. And what he added this week was some of that LED lighting. So this is something that's really affordable now. Some years back, it was rather expensive, the LED lighting. LED is just a light-emitting diode. They used them for years and years in radios and TVs, mostly just to control the frequency. But what they found was by controlling the frequency, it can change the light. So you can see in his video here, it goes from red, blue, green, white. And it's essentially, if you will, the same bulb or the same LED is by changing the frequency. And so I think he said he did a dado along the top so that can tuck up in there. And it's real thin anyways. It's just a thin little strip. You attach up in there, and then that's going to shine down and kind of show off his collection. I'll be real anxious to see it all finished in place there, Tom. So great stuff. Bill Crispin. Now, Bill has finished a desk that I think he said he had been working on for a long time. It was one of those things where you start off all excited, maybe it got a little complicated, maybe it got a little repetitive, maybe he just got busy, he set it aside, and then came back to it. But this is the desk, it's got the glass top on it. Kind of has like that Asian, Chinese look to it, and it looks like it's all little pieces kind of segmented together. I was curious how those were attached, because they look like a butt joint, and it's not a real strong joint if you're just gluing it. I don't know if he used nails or screws, some other kind of fastener that he later concealed. Either way, it looks really cool, and it's in place, and now I'm sure he's getting ready to start another project. So nice job on that, Bill. Stephen Kofoed. Stephen made some Adirondack chairs. Now, Adirondack chairs are really popular. They're very comfortable because they sit low to the ground, and it has a big slouch angle. In other words, the back leans back, making them very comfortable. And they're very popular for decks or pools or sitting around a fire pit. But if you live in the area where I do, where we get some harsh winters, you can't leave them outside all year long. And because they're big, that makes them awkward to store and tuck away unless you really have the room for it. So Stephen made his so they fold up, as you can see. Pretty cool stuff there. And that makes it a lot better to slide into a shed or to maybe hang them up on the wall in the garage. Just get them out of the way until spring comes back around. The other thing Stephen did was Stephen went to his sister's house, who lives several hundred miles away, and he put on for her this new handrail for her porch on her house, as well as the lattice underneath it. So on top of being a good woodworker, Stephen is an awfully nice brother. Terri Stroh. Terri sent in some photos last week, and Terri said he's fairly new to woodworking, and he's took some classes, I think in a community center of some sort where he's at, and he said he's learning so much by taking the classes, and that's something I've always encouraged the viewers to do. Videos are great, books are great, but if you really want to learn woodworking, take a class where you have an experienced instructor to watch you, to educate you, to maybe correct those little problems that you're having. Makes a big, big difference that you can't get from a video or a book. Anyhow, Terri said that this outdoor table that he made it a while ago. I think he said it was made out of, sapele, and that's what the top was, and the bottom he did pine. And now, after taking these classes, he's been able to look back and see that he's made some mistakes on it, which he feels he can fix and correct. But the best part is now Terri knows not to make those mistakes on future projects, and that's what this is all about, learning and improving. Don't worry about the mistakes as long as we're learning from them. So great job, Terri, and we're looking forward to your next project. So we have someone new I'd like to welcome to the show. His name is Buck Mann, and I think Buck said he was fairly new to woodworking as well. But Buck made this keepsake box for his aunt and uncle, and he made it out of mesquite wood. And he has a little video, so I'll put the description or the link to his video down in the description below if you'd like to go over there. It's a short little video. It talks a little bit more about his box. But he also has a YouTube channel, the Southern Mann Workshop. So if you want to check out some of his other work down there. And Buck, just like Jay, is able to sell some of his work and make some money from it. And it's a great feeling. If any of the viewers have had that pleasure of actually getting paid, and you see the customer or the client thrilled with what they're getting. It's a great feeling. It's also a bittersweet thing for me because I tend to put my heart and soul into the project, and then you have to say goodbye to it, and you hope that the client will appreciate it and love it as much as you do. But anyhow, nice job on that, Buck, and feel free to send in more stuff to the show. All right, so I think Buck was down in Texas, and now we're going to head over to Australia, where Peter Compton, who's become a good friend of mine now through this show, Peter has a small little entry this week. He made this guitar clock for his nephew, and the reason he made it for his nephew is his nephew won a music scholarship award, so congratulations on that. We know he must be pretty talented as a musician, as well as pretty smart to be able to get that scholarship. So we wish you all the best on that. One of the great things about talking with Peter is because he's down there in Australia, there's all these different species of wood that I don't have access to here in Ohio. And so the guitar was made out of the wood, the body was made out of silver princess, and the fret bar, he said, was made out of Jahara wood, both of which I've never heard, but again, it's great to be able to learn new things. So thank you, Peter, and we'll be talking soon. Okay, this next individual I would like to say welcome back, and that is to Ray King. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the show, you might remember some of Ray's stuff from many months ago. Back in August, Ray had to go under bypass surgery, and so he's been recovering all this time. But he said he's been watching every episode, so thank you, Ray. And Ray has a small picture this week. He's working on a cedar chest for his wife. So we don't have a lot to see on the progress here, and that's because he's only able to spend about an hour or so out in the shop as he's still recovering. But either way, we want to say welcome back. I'm glad you're doing well. Don't rush it. Take your time. We're always here for you. So it's good to hear from you again, Ray. Okay, let's head over to Ireland, where my other good friend, Mark Fitzsimons, has sent in a photo. Now, Mark was sending in stuff all the time, and if you remember, he's incredibly talented woodworker, very highly skilled, does some amazing work for some of his clients. Currently, though, he said he hasn't had a whole lot of fun photos to send us because he's been doing like roofing and putting in windows. Mark is like me. Whatever that phone rings and tells us to do, we pretty much will do it. But he sent in this photo of a very unique kitchen island. He said this was something his clients wanted. It's a unique piece of wood for certain, and I was curious what kind of wood that was. But they wanted a very simple piece for the kitchen, and there you go. I mean, the top obviously is busy, but look at the simple leg, and it just attaches to the wall. I don't think I would have made a kitchen island out of it. It doesn't seem all that practical. Probably would have made more of a coffee table out of it, but hey, who cares? It's not for me. You do what the customers want. It's still a really cool piece of wood there, Mark, so thanks for sending us a photo. Jim Brown. Now, Jim is sending us some scroll work that he did. And you can see we have a lion, and he did it on cherry wood. And what I liked about this was Jim took photos of the progress of it. It looks like he had the camera in the same spot each time, so you can see how the evolution of it came about. And I think Jim said that just in one of the days, not the whole project, just in one day, he did over 740 cuts. That's a lot, and for me that's too much, because with doing scroll saw, you first have to drill the hole, and then you have to take the blade off, slip it through the hole, attach it, get the tension just right, make the cut, take it apart, and do that whole process over and over again. It's too repetitive for me, but I have a lot of respect for the folks that have the patience to do that. And I want to point out that Jim said he bought this pattern from Charles Deering, who I know Charles, incredibly talented scroll saw artist, as well as an artist in drawing. And he has got hundreds, and I'm not kidding, I'm talking hundreds of different patterns of just about any topic you can think of. So if anyone else is out there and you're interested in doing some scroll saw, looking for some unique patterns, go over and you can probably check them out. You can easily find them on Facebook, or probably just even type his name into Google and pop up. He's got some great stuff there. Jonathan Vigorito. Jonathan entered some photos on the show several months back. I believe he did a fireplace mantle, and I think he was designing a hall table or an end table. But he said he got real busy. He hasn't had time to work on that a whole lot. But he wanted to get out in the shop and do something. He had some leftover 2x4 scraps, and so he made these serving trays for his cousin. And what I thought was kind of neat on it was on the one serving tray, you can see he used a band clamp that he got from the store. But he didn't have a band clamp for the second one. So he did a string and a stick. And I was telling Jonathan that this is very common over in Asia. You can go into their shops, and their shops are typically small because land is at a premium over there. And they don't have room for a bunch of bar clamps hanging around. So they've got string and rope everywhere. And it's amazing how they can get a lot of their furniture pieces clamped up just using something as simple as string and a stick. So there you go. And now Mr. Mo. Mr. Mo is our last entry for the day. And Mr. Mo has this jewelry box that he made for his daughter. And he said he made it out of some 36-year-old patio furniture. So I'm guessing it might have been cedar that he had. Cedar is a great outdoor wood, but just like anything, in time it gets worn out. 36 years is a pretty good run for your outdoor patio furniture. But he saved the wood and was able to make this little box for his daughter, which I'm sure she's going to love. Now, I also want to apologize to Mr. Mo because he actually sent me these photos several weeks ago, but he sent them to my old email address that I use primarily just for my customers. So, any of the old viewers watching, if you want to send stuff in, or any new viewers, please send your photos, your questions, your comments to woodshopandtime@gmail.com. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of What Are You Doing? Now, on Wednesday's show, After Hours Woodworking, I might skip it this week. This is a big week for me. I actually have my shop painted, and I'm going to start bringing some of the tools over this week. But I also have, in the middle of that, I have to get a couple of projects done for some customers. So it's going to be really busy. I didn't go to Les's house last week. Les was a little bit tired, wanted to catch up on some paperwork. Dennis was out of town, so we all just decided to take a break. But I hope to get over there this week for him if he's up and able to do that. So it's just a full week for me. But we'll definitely be back here on Friday for sure. I'm going to continue that series with Dennis Laney, where he talks about his workbenches. It started off, I thought I was going to have a 10 or 15 minute video with Dennis showing me his 3 different workbenches and the pros and cons to each one. And he gave so much good information. It was a really long video, so I just decided to break it down into sections for you. And I think you're going to learn quite a bit just about the construction, the ergonomics, the different vices, and basically how to work on your workbench. So stay tuned for the second part of that. Okay, as always, I thank you so much for watching and for commenting below and sending in your photos. And don't forget, keep on dancing.